諸軍総大将官名より全蘇兵に次ぐこたびの栄えある海戦の一陣、我ら祖軍が受けたまった。
なんだこのバカでけえ声は。
隣の戦場だぞ。この戦で秦は滅ぶ。この戦は深く歴史に刻まれること間違いない。この大戦の口火を切る誉れ高き者は林北貴様だ。おう、
先方は。
よっしゃよっしゃ。我が名はその豪将林北。
林武君、そこか。同金の敵は。
我こそこの壮大な戦の幕を開ける者である。死を揺るがすのは誰か。天を震わすのは誰か。沈め戦軍。突撃じゃ。将軍に続け。
さすが公将軍、そうこなくったよ。俺たちも続くぞ。突撃だ進んだい。この大戦の口火を切るのは俺たちだ。
Yo, what's up? What's up, man? It's your guy Ray Hama, one versus a million. I'm not your fan. I'm not your stand for. I am brother. Yes, thank you guys for coming through for this review of these two shows. Well, actually, we're going to be reviewing three. And so please hit the like, share, subscribe, hit the follow, and hit the follow for the Rumble, which is the link is in the description, and hype the stream. So, yeah. Man, we gotta get into it, man. Yeah, we got some stuff to talk about, man. Here in this Geekverse news right here, son. Yeah, we gotta get in because I was like, man, there's just so much shows going on, and it's oh man, a a wonderful and blessed time to be alive. I'll tell you that. So, and with you guys, thank you guys for coming through. Uh, Yeah, I would like to start out with, let's see, I would like to start out with, uh, let's say maybe we start off on Daredevil whenever it loads up. So I was just saying, man, hey, I'm coming into this with an open mind, and all three of these shows are good, including Invincible. Um, so that fight, man, was just there's gonna be something to be talked about like for the longest. So yeah. So yeah, here we go, man, as we dive into Daredevil. Hopefully, let's see. Let me take my picture off. And yeah, so when you come when you guys come in, you guys know what exactly I'm talking about. Daredevil, Born Again, was this episode 4? No, no, that's the boys. This is episode 6. Yeah, of Born Again, Daredevil, and man, this had me. I was like, oh man, I was like, damn. I'm like, so Kingpin, he's about to, this motherfucker about to go on a rampage. You know, he's not going to be thinking clearly or logically. So he tried, but shit. But what came, at the end of this made everything more heavier, including, the loss of Vanessa. So, so she's gone. I'm like, wow, the wicked queen of the empire, she's gone. So yep, and holding the funeral. Yeah, he's there at the funeral, just all messed up into himself, ain't talking to nobody. So yeah, that was the point of when his despair started to kick in, and so yeah, man. And as I seen, he just leaves the rose and just walks away. He doesn't get no speech or nothing. So hopefully my audio's good. Hopefully my audio's good. But yeah, and also to my surprise in this episode, they well, there was talks of, not really to my surprise, but I was wondering when they was gonna have her pop in here. But our girl Jessica Jones made an appearance. She's in here now. So yeah, they gave her a little bit of screen time. But, you know, apparently, she has this little girl that she's raising, that she adopted as her daughter. And with her, with the opening with her in this episode, it shows her basically kicking some dude's ass that was basically out to, hunting her and shit. So they found where she was living at. And when she meets up with him, with Daredevil, she ends up, somewhat blaming him for for the anti-vigilante task force to come and and mess with her type of shit. So I'm like, girl, well. So yeah, so she's back, and also too that remind me, yeah, I gotta get into the Defenders. Yeah, shocker. Yeah, wow. I never really had the time to get into it, but I will be watching it. Best believe that. And yeah, then I believe what season 2 or just another rebranded show of the Defenders with the same characters, that is coming out. Or yeah, I don't think it's out already now, but it will be out this year. But yeah, so that was kind of cool to see her. And these two, uh, Matt and Karen, are debating, fighting over if they should. She wants to basically, start, deleting people. So he's arguing saying, hey, I don't see it that way. I'm not trying to see it that way. I got to believe, he's trying to believe in the system, doing the right thing by not taking a life type of shit. Which is what a lot of these heroes are on. So, but she makes a valid, argument too. Like, hey, because it said the same thing for Batman and some others. Like, hey, these people, these dudes, these crazy cats, you keep locking up. They keep getting out and doing the same thing. Taking another life and all that stuff. So, what we should just keep on going in this cycle. Why not just, you know, uproot the evil? Just by just deleting the cats. By deleting Kingpin. So he's just telling her, hey, he's believing, that there's another way. And I'm like, I'm kind of leaning more towards, of Karen on this one because I'm like, yeah, some people just got to go. Some people just got to go. All right. Some guys just have done too much evil, and just the mere of just letting them continue to breathe, and live, just is a threat to society. So I totally get it. I totally understand. And you know, I'll delete these as I go. So yeah, and it just it just brings it to another level, when you think about it, because you're like, okay, Matt, you trying to portray yourself, like the rest of them, including Batman, like, okay, you're the one, that's doing what's right, making the right decision by, not taking these evil characters off the map type of thing. But then again, because you're saying like it's wrong, you should take a life. Yeah, true. But if you don't say that, then what's the point of the military? Soldiers take lives. I mean, it was like, come on, man. Like even taking the lives of enemy soldiers, from which you're doing it on the orders of some old fools who basically started the war over something that shouldn't be a war over. So yeah, so it's not all that black and white. It's not all that black and white. So yeah. So as he leaves Karen there uh, with uh, with Poindexter, because they argued over him too, because she just wanted to take his ass out too for what he did to Foggy, which I don't blame her at all, not one bit. So he leaves her with Poindexter as he's still knocked out, chained up. But this too, like this scene, because we're going through the whole episode, in order. This chick, BB, she's kind of a hardhead though. I'm like, you ain't even got nobody to act as security for you or whatever. She's just doing this as a lone, dangerous journalist. And she's playing a very dangerous game. I mean, how many times she was warned? But in this, hey, she was on so many times to her dude came through. Buck told Daniel, he was like, "Shit, hey man, you know, yeah, she gotta go. Yeah, man, you gotta feed her something. You know what I mean, to let us know that so we can have basically that concrete info that is her. Who was the one that's been making the videos or working with him. The videos is mocking Fisk. So he said, feed her some false info. You know what I mean, but as we see in the episode, it didn't fall through because he basically, forewarned her, hey, that dude, that she better stop because dude wants to take her out. You know what I mean? So Buck wants to get rid of her. That's what he's trying to tell her. Her hard headed ass. She's all entangled up in it because she wants to take Fisk down, in honor of her believe her uncle, who was a well known journalist that we've seen from the first series. Because she knows that the Fisk has something to do with getting rid of him. So she has that drive, that burning desire, wanting to, get him taken down. So she's on a hunt for whatever she can get, to help take him down. And also too, she's developed some kind of feelings or whatever for this dude, this white dude. But she's in conflict, as you see, because she's, saying to herself, well, I really care for Daniel, but I don't want to, not forsake my mission. You know what I mean? So, but the thing is, at the same time, dude, she cared for it. She knows, hey, he's working directly with, right under Fisk. So, yeah, and I was expecting to see, sometime in this episode, seeing both of them, two linking up, and which is where she chews them out because of, because of her blaming him for those task force guys coming through to to try to take her down, but she ended up taking them motherfuckers out with ease. Like she took all the motherfuckers down like under a minute. But I don't know, it was something with there's something up with her ability between her and this and that one dude who's a head of the task force, Fisk right hand dude, the one who he has running the task force. Yeah, we'll get to it. So yeah, so both of them, damn it, they decide to, go into this warehouse where Fisk has these weapons stored up, which he got from this dude who I believe works for the CIA. And him and Fisk cut a deal, but but he ends up Fisk ends up taking the guns, end up basically saying fuck dude, reneged on his deal, so he's pissed. So you can say this is kind of karma for that. You know what I mean? Because when they went in there, they basically tore shit up between Daredevil and Jessica Jones. You know what I mean? So they was in there doing their thing, battling, fighting, fighting all those dudes, whooping ass. All those task force dudes. So shit. So Jessica basically like, hey, you motherfuckers came to my spot, so shit, I'm gonna come to your spot. Especially, when y'all came, especially y'all came when my daughter was there. Shit, what the hell wrong with y'all? So yeah, and the dude who she ended up hitting, the head of the task force, that guy, because he ends up popping up, and ends up knocking Jessica back a little bit with his weapon. You know, sends her like a couple of feet back after she tries to punch him. Like as soon as he came around the corner, and I'm like, wow. So what's going on with your powers? Like, or what's going on with dude? Like a while, like you couldn't, you couldn't do nothing. It didn't phase him at all. It like tickled him. I'm like, oh shit, it's only for this motherfucker. You might need call Luke, call Luke Cage on his ass then. Like motherfucker better call Luke Cage. So yeah, let me click on it. So yeah, they end up setting that up, and they end up going to blaze that whole warehouse. So Fisk, he's gonna be pissed, losing all that armor, all that weaponry, all gone. And this chick, the doctor, the therapist, or was a therapist, damn it, until she started, having her own issues where she needs a damn therapist. She ends up seeking out Fisk's right hand man, Buck, because he ends up coming in the room that the room where I think it was a room that belonged to Vanessa because she was messing with, some of her jewelry that was there. And but she ended up taking one of the pieces of jewelry too. I'm like, ooh, bitch. I'm like, you better hope Fisk don't catch your ass. You better hope you don't catch that shit on you, girl. Oh shit. Like you motherfucker's dangerous, boy. Fuck with that motherfucker. Shit. So but she ends up, asking for his help, because he was trying to counsel or whatever, trying to comfort her because she asked him like, "Hey, have you taken out people before? Have you like?" Oh well, yeah. And he was like, "Hey, he's like, show me, like, what did he do?" Which was Muse, the character who she's hunted by, whom she ended up killing. So she's like hunted by this dude, like, because she's that traumatized. So she ends up demonstrating to him by having him put his hands on her neck. I mean, for her putting her hands on his neck, demonstrate to him basically that this is what he did to me. So, and he was allowing her to do that, to relieve the tension and the stress. I'm like, ooh, I'm like, girl, yeah, you need some meds, girl. Fuck it, boy, you need to be on something. So, I'm like, damn. Ooh, salute Charles, salute brother Charles. Thanks for coming through, bro. Yes, thank you for coming through. And as we're talking about Daredevil right now, trying to work with these pigs. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, she was like choking this motherfucker. I'm like, she was showing she was trying to, well, or might like use the same force that he did, the Muse used on her. I'm like, well, I'm like, yeah, she must have needed that, man. She needed to get that shit out of her, even though it's just temporary. Shit. And this son of a bitch wakes up, and then speaking again, we're going in order, in accordance to the episode of what, you know, from A to Z. So yeah, this dude wakes up. I'm like, ooh, okay, oh shit, how this gonna go down? And as usual, he ends up talking shit, trying to, taunt, taunting Daredevil, taunting Karen, to basically to take him out, because he's at that low point. So, because he knows and believes he deserves it. And also he, wonders why like he hasn't died yet, for when he should have died like what a couple or a few times, especially when he was thrown off that roof or off that building, off that what was it was a top of like what three-story, four-story building. Yeah, but dude, he's up talking shit, and then thinking, boy, that she ain't at the ready shit. But he's willing, he's willing to go, so he's willing to be taken out. So yeah, because she ends up pulling the strap on him. Oh shit! I'm like, ooh, but we're Murdoch because damn it, she fuck around, she'll do it. She's doing. She was itching. Oh shit! And he mentioned Foggy's name. Oh man, what the hell is wrong with you, son? I'm like, oh man. I'm like, yep. You saying the triggering words, all right? Then Matt comes in and just knocks the gun out of her hand. And saying what she's doing, yells at him and just gets frustrated with him. Talking about how she believes, that the guys like him need to be taken out, that type of shit. And he's on that. No, we're gonna like take him down, do it the right way. So yeah, and so yeah, she had to go. So she had to go away for a minute. And this crazy bitch here, I'm like, oh my god, bitch, you asked bitch to go to this dude's mother's house, which is in Staten Island. And I'm like, oh man, like bad idea, bitch. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? I'm like, you playing a dangerous game. He playing a dangerous game. So yeah, he went there, visit his mother, so he can, you know, so she can help celebrate his birthday. But I'm like, damn, girl. I'm like, fuck, man. Like, you definitely trying to put this dude in a position, man, to get all messed up because his name is kind of tied to hers. So yeah, and this one here, yep. This I thought interesting because I was like, okay, so they're rioting, protesting against Fisk, and the task force and all that. So yeah, they all basically are repping Daredevil. They all have the Daredevil merch on. in their protests. So they all protesting outside that government building. I'm like, damn. So y'all looking at Daredevil as a hero, okay? That's pretty good for Matt. Pretty good for Matt. Hold on, let me. Okay, take it off. So, yeah, and dude, he shows up to. He shows up to this woman here. The dude of, I think the CIA dude. No, because he's pissed with Fisk. So I guess he's gonna be getting something, from her to, I guess, to help him get even or get over on Fisk for what Fisk did to him. So we may end up seeing that in the next episode. And dude I'm talking about is him. So yeah, he's there. He made a surprise visit. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, what is he coming to her for? Like, what is it? What is it? What is this thing that he's gonna be needing help with? And yeah, this crazy ass girl here who ends up getting caught with this device in her jacket because dude, it came to him it came to his mind to go ahead and to search her jacket while she was away at the restroom, and she called herself going to the restroom. But she was doing some snooping around and shit, in this dude's room. And while she was doing that, he went through her jacket and found that device. And right as they was about to kiss too, he's like, oh, you know what? No, damn that bullshit. He's like, man, like, what is this, man? You got going on? Like, you know, he's like, you're gonna get us both, and basically delete it. Shit. And she's all like, oh, sorry. I, blah, blah. Um, yeah, whatever. So you know what the hell you was doing. Well, you knew what the hell you was doing, girl. Stop it. But your ass got caught. So and at the same time, Buck called him, and he revealed to her that, hey, if you don't stop your shit, we're going to get them both done in. This dude, he's going to want to take you out. So he's like, hey, I don't know if I can protect you anymore. So, yeah, because her ass ain't, she ain't thought things through like she thought she did. So, so yeah, and I'm starting to see, okay, Karen. I'm like, shit. She's part of this resistance group or some shit, huh? I'm like, I wonder, does Matt know that she's go around disguise, like putting herself at risk, her life at risk, by getting caught by that AVTV? I mean, AVTF. So disguising herself up so her hair won't be revealed because she's recognizable. They have her image, the task force. So yeah, so she's highly wanted. So yeah, I'm looking at my girl. I'm like, what the hell are you doing out there? But she was out there for a purpose. So I'm like, okay, and and that was the purpose. Yeah, so she was out there to set up this projector, which will, which is the projector showing these all these little interviews that was done by all the people that Fisk had held captured in this one area where it was all just a whole bunch of cages, to house all those who rises against them type of shit. So yeah, so that was all what was projecting on the building. It was the government building. And Fisk, he's looking, he's looking on and just seeing it all go down. He's like, damn, I can't believe it. So, yeah, all those people that he had captured are airing it all out. So, basically, this means, I'm like, damn, so Fisk is done. His credibility and reputation just, yeah, they can't come back from this. And this is something that Daredevil wanted. You know, this is in part of him, getting that type of justice he was talking about. But it only pissed him off because and then after Daredevil gave him that talk and told him, hey, with all what with all this going on, all this beef between us, I mean, hey, if you just step down, walk away, hey, if you leave New York, I'll leave New York. But Fisk, he wasn't trying to hear that. He was like, just fuck it. He was like, his credibility, as a mayor, and reputation as a mayor is just over with. It's been nuked. So he said, fuck it, I might as well go all out, damn it. Shit. Well, with Daredevil, hey, he should have just did that. Hey, set up shop somewhere else. Shit. But New York is home to him too. So yeah. So I kind of figured, he was going to just say, to hell with that. What we see here, we see Karen and an old girl who's the niece of old dude who's arrested, who was for playing vigilante. His niece is there with Karen Page and her friend. I think his name is Hobby. So they're going there, boom, to set it up. You know what I mean? To set up the projector. So it was there and protesting with the protesters or whatever. But some shit happened. But yeah, let's continue. And after this, I will be playing some videos relating to the Geekverse. So yeah, so I think you guys like them, and it relates to one of the shows that we're going to be talking about. So yeah, back to it. Oh man, and then you ever see him? You know, as they slide over to the scene where both of them are fighting. Now they decide to fight. They're going. He's like, "Fuck it, he's like, let's go, let's get in there. We both wanted this, man. So let's go." It fits because you can see him in this shit. He was moving. My boy was moving a little better, damn it. He was moving a little better than the last time they fought. Shit. You know, I mean, this boy's moving, you know, hey, in more of a boxer's rhythm, damn it. Shit. So I'm like, that motherfucker boy, he took his training to heart. Shit. Damn near got Daredevil. Oh, when Daredevil came through, boy, with this knee, with that knee to the chin, you hear me? Oh my God, son. I'm like, beautiful. I'm like, yeah, I had to get a shot of that. I had to get a snapshot of that. Going through deleting the other ones. Yep. So we can stay in order. Yeah, man, and so yeah, tell me what you guys think of that fight, man, between Kingpin and Daredevil on this one. Like, cause I vaguely remember if Daredevil, you know, was able to beat up Fix that badly in the comics or even in the animated shows. I'm not sure. So maybe you guys can tell me that in the comment section. But that knee was just, ooh, boy, that knee was just so mean. Like, oh man, that was a that was a shout out to the that was a shout out to MMA knee shot right there. But yeah, so going back and hell, you see, Javi, old girl's friend, was rocked on the side of the head, you know, by one of the ATV, one of the AVTF task force members. He was rocking him inside the head with his weapon, with his firearm. Ended up giving dude a concussion, so yeah, to where his head ended up bleeding. And Karen, she ends up popping up. You know, because she's seeing it, you know, she's there. You know, trying to help Javi. You know, because she realized, hey, she got, you know, he's bleeding, blood, you know, his head is bleeding because blood is on her hands. Well, they're helping him, you know, not thinking, okay, that, you know, that her head is, you know, she's all uncovered and her identity is just fully exposed. This son of a bitch pops up. He calls for the ride to get worse by shooting one of the task force squad members, which he figured out or found out there was a part of the who was basically he's in the task force like undercover, you know, because he's like, hey, I knew it was you, and then he ends up taking him out, and so and therefore it caused uproar. He made that use that to cause the uproar to cause them to give the task force a reason to push back on the rioters, claiming that one of them, you know, deleted one of the task force members, but it was actually him, obviously. So yeah, and in the midst of that, boom, he pops up. Because at the same time that was happening, Hobby gets knocked on the head, and Karen sends a old girl off to go get some help, and while she stays there with Hobby to help protect him, and, just to help him, to stabilize him to some degree. And that's when dude pops up. He was like, Karen Page. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, chick, you're exposed. I'm like, damn it, like you should at least had a hood on. your hair and your hood on your head, like what the hell happened? You had a hat, hair, and a hood. Like you had all those three things off, like because you got freaked out because all the chaos going on with the riot or the protest that may end up leading into a riot. So yeah, so she ends up getting hemmed up. So I'm like, oh shit. So what's gonna go down for the next episode? Will Fisk take all of his anger out on her? Or will because it didn't show him walking away from him, because he was still there, at the end of the episode. He was still there with Fisk, and his Fisk was there, on his knees, was like, hey, all bloodied up like he was, the first time they fought, him and Matt. And he's like, hey, he's like, you can arrest me, but you won't. He's like, you can kill me, but you won't. Basically highlighting him, hey, that he's so just highlighting his indecisiveness and his unwillingness to find a place to stand on. So, like, either you're gonna take him out, take him off the map, or you're gonna, like, well, what are you gonna do? Well, it's never good being a double-minded man, I'll tell you that. So yeah. I'm like, that's that on that one. Yeah, so I can't wait to see, man. Okay, like when he gets out, when Kingpin gets out of that, okay, if Daredevil somehow just lets him go and he gets in contact with his task force team, and dude, the head of the task force, he's gonna, reveal about Karen, that they have Karen. So, like, will he resort to torturing or what? Or will there be like some type of trade negotiated because Daredevil, conflicted about on what to do with Fisk. He may keep him hostage, not hold him hostage, but he may keep him locked up somewhere, tied up, and the task force may get a hold of him, just negotiating, hey, Karen for Kingpin. So it may come into a thing like that. So who knows? But yeah, so I'd like to show a video for us right here. Thank you guys for coming through. Yep, let me see if it show. Let me see this. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we're going to be getting on the boys next, but I'd like to show a video real quick for us. And for us to check out a video from the Geekverse. And this is about one of the shows we're going to be talking about, which is Invincible. So this is about Invincible. Here we go.
Hi everybody, quick reminder, don't forget to check out the on-screen end cards towards the end of the video, as well as the merch shelf and links down in the description below to explore my new Outcast comic book series. And I just have to say that I genuinely appreciate all of the support that's been shown for this new adventure. Now I hope you're having a great day, and let's dive in to Monax. Now, Monax Zaxal, which is his complete name, is one of the most biologically unique and narratively complex characters in the Invincible universe. Making his first appearance in Invincible issue number 93, Monax represents the unintended consequences of the decades-long conflict between Earth and the Flaxan Empire. His quote-unquote father is actually Amanda, aka Monster Girl, and his mother is a Flaxan woman named Zal Zaxal. You see, because Amanda's monster form is biologically male, she was able to conceive Monax while she and Robot were trapped in the Flaxan dimension, where time moves at an accelerated rate. Monax's childhood was defined by the brutal, shifting politics of the Flaxan world. While Amanda and Robot initially sought to bring peace and progress to the Flaxans, their relationship eventually fractured due to Robot's increasingly tyrannical methods. Monax was born into this atmosphere of high-stakes rebellion and betrayal. His early years were marred by tragedy, living through the experience of most of his family, including his mother, Zal Zaxal, being taken out, an event that left him with a deep-seated resentment towards Amanda and Robot. This purging of the Zaxal family was actually a result of Robot finding out about Amanda's tryst and fearing that Monax could become a rival to his power or a symbol for the Flaxan resistance, which led Robot to a scorched earth method of taking out all of the family, or so he thought. This trauma is what forged Monax into a hardened warrior from a young age. Growing up in a dimension where a week on Earth equals decades of life, Monax matured into a formidable adult with a singular purpose: revenge against those who abandoned him and allowed his mother to perish. Now, as a hybrid of a human cursed with quote-unquote monster DNA and a Flaxan, Monax possesses an extraordinary physiological makeup. His appearance itself is striking, having green skin, pointed ears, antennae, and a massive muscular build that mirrors Monster Girl's behemoth form, although he's actually much bigger and seemingly stronger. Matter of fact, Monax would have at least vast superhuman strength, being capable of trading blows with Viltrumites and other high-tier beings. We also repeatedly see that his strength is sufficient to easily tear through advanced Flaxan and Earth-based technologies. Now, he also has vast superhuman durability and stamina, with his hide being nearly impenetrable to conventional weapons, allowing him to survive explosions and high-energy blasts that would vaporize a standard human. To go on, he also has a slightly accelerated healing, possessing a regenerative healing factor that allows him to recover from severe physical trauma if you can inflict it upon him in a fraction of the time required by a human, similar to his quote-unquote father, Monster Girl. And finally, he has a unique combat proficiency, because unlike many other tanks in the series, Monax is a trained soldier and strategist, having survived the constant wars of the Flaxan dimension. Now, Monax eventually followed the path of previous Flaxan invasions to reach Earth. His initial intent was purely antagonistic. He sought to take out Robot for his betrayals and confront Amanda for her perceived abandonment, although he didn't realize that she didn't know he even existed. Nevertheless, upon his arrival, he would clash with the Guardians of the Globe, displaying power levels that rivaled the heavy hitters of the team. However, the narrative shifted as Monax realized the complexity of the situation on Earth, particularly the growing threat of robots' global takeover. But down the line, after the dust settled from robots' eventual coup and subsequent defeat, Monax chose to stay on Earth. Rather than remaining a villain of circumstance, he sought a path of redemption. He would even go on to officially join the Guardians of the Globe, serving alongside his quote-unquote father, Amanda. Now, this transition was rocky, as the two had to navigate a father-son dynamic that was physically and chronologically inverted. That being said, Monax's presence on the team provided much needed muscle and a tactical perspective shaped by years of interdimensional warfare. So overall, Monax Zaxal remains a testament to the Invincible series' ability to blend high-concept sci-fi with deeply personal family drama, standing as a hero born from the ashes of two worlds. Now, for his powers and abilities, and his influence on the Invincible universe, for my 1 to 10 rating, I'll actually give Monax Zaxal a rating of 8, which is an unforgettable rating. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you next time. Be sure to like and subscribe to The New Sage.
Yeah, shout out to him, man. Shout out to my guy, New Sage. Shout out to that brother. And yes, just subscribe to him and check out his merch and his comic book series that he's starting. Yeah, dive into it, man, and support to that brother. Yeah, which I shall be supporting. So salute to him. And yeah, and this Monax dude, he's powerful. Like, yeah, he's nothing to be played with. So I'm like, yeah, to even have the ability to go against Viltrumites. Oh damn. To fight against them. I'm like, shit, man. And have the abilities to withstand like a decent level amount of attacks too. Yeah. So that motherfucker's he's gonna be bad news. So yeah, so as I decided, we're gonna be diving into Invincible now. So yeah, let's get right into it. Invincible. This season finale, man, of season 4. Let me know y'all thoughts, man, because I'm like, okay, I kind of hinted it was gonna go to this route where it was kind of like setting up, for the audience, for those of us fans through showing the paranoia of the cast members, of the show, of them, being, super panicky and shit, therefore trying to about the Viltrumites coming through and destroying things, and conquering Earth type of shit. So, in all actuality, no, that wasn't Thrag's ordeal. That wasn't Thrag's deal at all. His deal was shit. It was to come and integrate into society and to be, to blend in with society and to blend in and to replicate the race through that way, through basically making families and all that shit, just being a part of society. So you see all the Viltrumites, some are in, business suits, and one dude, Craig, he's He's like a biker or whatever, like probably some biker club, because he has a biker chick with him, and he has a cigarette too, and he's holding. Like, oh, okay, yeah. So I'm like, you motherfuckers blended in well. So I'm like, so that's why really that uh Cecil's network couldn't pick them up, if they were to arrive on Earth. So I'm like, damn. But I'm like, how did they bypass your system to begin with? Like, what kind of cloaking? Did they use some kind of cloaking device to get on, to get on the Earth and to remain undetected? They quickly blended in. Or what? But either way, so you see Nessa too. She's in her like businesswoman suit, and she got that mean, strong, resting bitch face too. I'm like, oh god. But and throughout this episode, dude, fucking Thrag. I mean, Mark. Thrag had Mark, boy. He's hunting. He's hunting Mark's mind. Damn it, like. But I think that may start fading off now. Like that panic may still be there. I'm believing it. Yeah, it still may be there to some degree through that trauma, because even after that meeting, when they finally met, when he opened up his eyes to realize, oh shit, it's it's actually Thrag. It's the real Thrag. So he's worried that he's going to have to like fight him and shit. So he charged up at him to fight him, and started punching him. And you see the punching wasn't doing nothing. It was like totally like on some Dragon Ball Z type shit. Then he grabbed him, and then shoved him away. But Thrag was clearly showing that he wasn't really trying to. Yeah, he wasn't trying to fight him, and sure enough, he wasn't. So he went up there, and brought it to him that dilemma that he gave him, to choose either to allow us to integrate into your society, and so we can repopulate our race, or we can just do it the hard way, and we just take it over and conquer it just straight up, and which is going to involve like killings amongst the millions, and people being enslaved. So yeah, that's what that's the Alpha Threat gave him, and the boy, he was reflecting in his head, okay, about, oh man, like all this happened and everything, and everybody, that's here and there that he knows, that he's seen, and all those images come into his head until that last image, which was of Debbie, her ass. And so that was his Achilles heel. So that made him fold it. Her, this this baby deleting bitch. Oh, Ray, why she gotta be that, Ray? Why did Debbie get? She is a baby deleting bitch. I'm scared. I don't. But you could, if you worry about that, bitch, you could have set up plans, bitch, to give the kid over to someone else. If you was thinking about like that, I wasn't, gonna come back, and that motherfucker was close, but he was close to not making it back at all. But no, but it's never right to delete a baby. So yeah, so he thought about her. And he told Thrag, he was like, yeah, he was like, I agree to your terms. I think I think Thrag, I think, yeah, he was kind of shocked too because, because he was expecting a little bit more resistance from Mark, that it would be like that traumatized type of shit. But no, but he able to calm down and it was able to collect some kind of composure, you know, so he can come to his senses and think about it logically. That, hey, you motherfuckers did destroy Viltrum, so I figured that was gonna be, well, you destroyed our shit, we're coming to your place. And yeah, that surprised me with Debbie. I was like, man, if y'all knew that a lot of us is gonna be shocked. A lot of us fans are gonna be shocked, thinking, okay, that she's gonna finally like expose it too, that she's pregnant and shit or whatever. But she wasn't showing like that. So from that time, within that time of them being away, she gained a lot of weight due to her depression and all that stuff, and being there, help taking care of her parents and whatnot. So she basically told Mark that she let herself go. That she allowed herself to get fat. A little bit on the thick side though for me, as I would judge it. But yeah, she ended up getting fat. Oh my God, how dare you? Yeah, yeah. She would have been better off keeping the child because then if something did happen to Mark, well, she can just look at the child and see, his reflection. But no, but her actions, she chose to be selfish. And she did what she did. She got rid of it. And we see our boy Nolan. He's trying, boy. He really trying, and he kind of got happy too when he found out that uh that Mark's mom and Paul, they broke up. So he's kind of happy about that. So he's like, shit, So you could tell he was thinking like that. Maybe I still got a chance here. And so she decided, made up her mind. She's like, hey, well, I'm going to go and be their follower. So she decided to travel with Nolan. As Nolan take it to the ship, and they travel off, damn it, to go to to the planet where Oliver is, where he's being hospitalized. Because he's in that little crowd chamber, so he can heal. Because Thrag, yeah, he witnessed the full force of the type of the top Viltrumite. Damn it, and he's still alive. So salute to that boy, even though he was stupid and reckless, damn it, dumb as hell because stupid ass should have listened. But shit, but at least he can say he got that battle experience under his belt. Damn it, that his young ass half breed ass fought a full grown, full fledged Viltrumite, top Viltrumite. So Oliver got that under his belt. But they say in the comics though he lost his arm. But I'm like, damn, y'all motherfuckers couldn't go find his arm. Shit, motherfucker was like, right next to him. I'm like, how the hell y'all missed his arm, man? Like, y'all got that technology and all that shit that they could put his arm back together. Shit. But anyway, Shit. Let me see, our boy Allen. He's, he had to take up Thetis's role. His position. Now he's leading a whole like multitude of of armies and planets. Basically the head of the coalition, from which all the other council members, who they come to and discuss the issues about what's going on, all that shit. But all of them are complaining, bitching to him about the Viltrumites and shit, about how the remaining Viltrumites need to be eliminated. They acting all panicky and scared and shit. So yeah, but Alan, he rose up. He basically stopped being scared of the position, and he stood up there with his back straight and told them, "Hey, when we find them, we'll deal with the Viltrumites. Basically, we'll deal with them. Hey, when we find them, shit, we'll let you know, and we'll deal with them." But yeah, he deserved the position, and he'll be better off than Thetis. But Thetis is trying to turn him into him by having him because he made a goodbye message to Alan. Thetis did, on the assumption of him, if he didn't make it back, in which he didn't. So, it was one of those, hey, this is if I'm dead message. And, he told him about the virus. They developed the Scourge virus, and it's basically, is at the ready to be used. And he tells, Alan, hey, his wishes, that he wants them to use it, to wipe out all Viltrumites, even though that it may have a possibility because this hasn't been ruled out yet, which they may reveal in the next season. But I was told the next season may just focus on Robot and Monster Girl. So, but there's no telling if the virus will be, will take an effect on humans as well. So, they said that was a risk, but they just, stresses it to them that hey, that they all gotta be wiped out. So that was his hatred basically for his own kind. So therefore, as you can see, he's trying to like pass that on to Alan by giving him the role, but by leaving the role to him, intentionally leaving the role to him, but they're also leaving with the same burning desire to wipe out all Viltrumites. To basically not expecting him to think logically about it at all, whatever. I'm like, so hopefully Alan sees through that, and be like, nah, I'm gonna make the best logical decision right now and use this like for that's the last resort. That's the last resort kind of move right there. So yeah. But I'm like, well, why not? Okay, refine that virus, into those poisonous darts. The tech jacket had Zoe. You know, so they could be limited to just being targeted on the Viltrumites and not being in a gas form where it could have also like harm and destroy humans. Just so you just refine it to where just, boom, have it in darts and just direct it on the Viltrumites. But then again, maybe Alan would come to a point of where he's like, damn, like, should I really do this kind of thing? If he goes there, the Earth and sees that, hey, the Viltrumites, It's true what Thrag said because he finds out what Thrag, by way of Mark, and what Thrag said, or what Thrag, intentions are, what he really wants to do. So after revealing that to Alan, I don't know, maybe Alan will be at stronger odds of, when it comes to deciding on to use the virus to take him out and following Thaddeus's orders, or will he come to find that the Thaddeus was a little tabby misguided? I don't know. So y'all tell me what's up with that one. But yeah, so and the boys, man, yeah, going and dealing with the boys is just, yeah, them arriving at that Harmony facility where Soldier Boy and the rest of the suits were created, you know. And I'm like, huh, okay. So they went there on this mission to find this V1, this V1 virus. I mean, yeah, that will that was supposed to basically empower one with superpowers above the typical uh, typical V. It's basically stronger symptom than the V, and it was just designed to make one more powerful, like more powerful than your regular suits. Like your Soldier Boy and them, man. But dude, these motherfuckers, man, was crazy. It was a trip because because they realized, hey, Soldier Boy's still alive. He's like, damn. He's like, yeah, but we gotta do something about this shit, man. So yeah, so they decided that, they figured out, hey, get that V1 and so they won't get it. Soldier Boy and Homelander. So they managed to get there to it first. But they ended up showing up a little while later. So yeah, so you got, that both of them are there. And basically, he's talking shit to each other because this facility um, is infected by the abilities of one of the earlier soups, which is like one of the first 5 soups, which is called a bomb shot. I believe, yeah, bomb shot, but yeah, and it's basically his first name is Quinn, and I guess him and Soldier Boy were close, and he was just, man, this Quincy was all messed up. Like he he was in the walls. He was within the wall, like just basically he's just within the wall, like on some Resident Evil kind of stuff, and vines everywhere. So which all like connected to him, and it's basically a part of his powers. And so, and with its like base being rage and revenge and resentment and all that shit, therefore it and his vines is all through the building. It basically infected the whole building. So therefore, whoever walks in this building, they will be affected, and no matter superhuman. and it's designed to cause you to go into a rage frenzy and you know and, just to verbally and physically attack each other. So that's what it's designed to make you do. And and as such, you can imagine they all like get into it, cussing each other out, type of shit. You know, Frankie, he's the only one that really who's not affected. Who's for some reason he's not affected at all. Like I'm like okay, but they realize okay maybe he's not affected by it because um, he's done a whole bunch of crazy ass drugs and shit. So it just he's immune to it. So I'm like, oh wow, okay, that's one way to explain it. And so he's trying to get everybody, sorted out and everything, and then just to get them to see clearly, of what they're doing, and what's going on. But they ended up succumbing to their to those rageful murderous desires in them. So they started like to attacking each other at the end of it. But what stopped it, what stopped the whole rage genjutsu, emitted by this, uh, former soup who was, whose name was Bomb Shot, who code name was Bomb Shot. So, yeah, when Soldier Boy took him out, that basically canceled all that out. But also within this, uh, it was crazy because I was shitty. I was like, motherfuckers, what the fuck y'all doing? They're telling you to shut up. That they're here, Soldier Boy and them and Homelander. They fuck around here. You never keep your voice down. But no, they was just that's how strong that rage genjutsu was, man. They were just that pissed off. So it's like they were trying to hear it. So they was causing all kind of noises, throwing each other, fighting each other and shit, and shooting each other. Fucking Huey shot MM. I'm like, oh hell no. Oh, when Huey just stand up grew some damn balls like that. I'm like, come on, man. Like when he's been typically been the whining type of character, and the whole bitch made type of character, man, just wimpy. Uh, Tripping so much over Starlight and shit. And I'm like, find another chick. Damn. I think somebody probably said it to his ass before in the show. Like, damn, dude. But there were some things in here that people said, hey, there's not in the comics, that they left out, that they purposely left out. And I'm not surprised. I'm like, well, of course. Look how this motherfucker's bloody and gory enough as it is. Shit. But what tripped me out too in this, though, I'm like, okay, so I'm like, about time, guys. About time y'all reveal a weakness or a strong weakness uh to Homelander, which is this uranium, because he was placed in a chamber. He didn't know what it was at first until Soldier Boy revealed to him, because he was one of the soups that was tortured, by being placed in there, and in this chamber that it was laced with uranium, and so yeah, he used a little chamber, man, to trap Homelander. He trapped him after Homelander, by being affected by that suit's powers, because of him being in that building. He was talking, just mad cash shit to him. So he just trapped him. He was talking cash shit to Soldier Boy, and he just trapped him in that damn. Oh shit! He trapped him in that chamber. Made him think, that was where they're supposed to walk, and He walked right back out to let Homelander walk in and just locked his ass back. He's like, oh shit. Yeah, Homelander feeling sad. Which Homelander, his I'm God complex and shit. Yeah, his ass, he deserves everything coming to him. His old effed up God complex, sadistic, sociopathic ass. Yeah, he deserved every bit. But I'm like, damn. I'm like, how come Butcher all this time couldn't figure that out? The uranium was a great weakness to Homelander. Or for Homelander, I mean. It was a great weakness for him, man. So he should have used that, like refine or whatever with the help of Frenchie and some others. Boom, to get this motherfucker to where you can put that shit in some kind of bullets or some shit. You know what I mean? Hey, or turn it into a bomb even. Hell. Like overkill it, damn it, to make sure Homelander is gone. So, yeah. So yeah, and here, I'm gonna talk about this here because this boy, man, her half brother, who she ends up finding out, after she ends up finding her dad, she comes up on her dad and realizes, hey, he basically abandoned her and started a whole nother family shit. So I'm working things out, smoothing things out, and catching up with her dad to some degree or whatever. But her half brother is being a dickhead, and he's like, hey, she's this Starlight, she's a fugitive, she's a terrorist, believing the shitty false propaganda, set out to make her, which set out to make her be the bad one, the evil one, but she's actually, a good soup. So, and not willing to accept that, just willing to continue to just be a little bitch made dickhead. He decides to go ahead, and her little brother decides to go and make a call. Make a call to the deputies, which a deputy came out, which is who works with her dad, because he's works at the same department. So in doing him a favor, because he feels so convicted, whatever, to want to think that he's doing the right thing by wanting, by taking her in, but he decided to do her father a favor by allowing her to have a little time, left to stay there before he comes back, with some people to take her in and to bring punishment on him for harboring what they're deeming as a fugitive. So yeah, and that was just totally bitch made by her brother, and he got his face like, oh, I'm sorry. No, it's little fucking white kids like you need a whole foot up your ass. You need a whole foot up your ass. Shit. So yeah, oh man, I was so annoyed by that. But yeah, so yeah, therefore she has to leave, she has to go. But know that she's gonna be welcomed back by her father after everything settles down, and especially when it's all over, or when it really comes out to hate it, that she's not who they're saying she is, and her name is cleared, and so yeah, she's gonna be able to go back to her father. So it's not, they didn't set up where, like, her father didn't give two shits about her, much less like allowing her in his house. So yeah, that was crazy. I'm like, that shit was crazy. Yep, and we see to the end, yeah, when Homelander gets out of that chamber, he finally escapes. He sees Soldier Boy right there because Soldier Boy's hurt. Because this dude who he killed, bomb shot or whatever, had some kind of like, you know, anger, past trauma and shit, or whatever went on between him and Quinn. He snapped on him, uh, because he believed that Quinn, he was, as he claimed, was looking down upon him and shit. So yeah, he blasted him. But yeah, before then, or after then, that's when you have this here, and Soldier Boy is like, oh man, yeah, if you're gonna fucking do it, do it, dude. Like, but Homelander, he decided to say, fuck it, hey, he walked away because he must have realized that that Soldier Boy is is going through worse pain. You know what I mean, for whatever he did or whatever went on with him. So it's gonna be more pain than what Homelander can deliver. So, and Homelander's thinking, you must assume too that must be what Homelander is thinking because of him wanting to get back at Soldier Boy for what he did. So he's taking that as, hey, well, I guess I guess that will do that. That's better to see him like receiving some kind of suffering. So that was enough for him. So yeah. So yeah, let's get into these videos, man. Dude, oh man, we thought about Daredevil. Now I'll be editing the title of this too. So I'll put that in there. Hey, that we talked about the boys, about this latest episode here in season 5, which is episode 4. Yeah, man. Oh shit, I appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming through. Thank you guys for coming through. Yeah, we're gonna show a couple of videos related to the show what we was talking about. I looked at this video and I'm like, huh, damn, I didn't know that. Okay, so this is going into talking about characters that are not or have not yet made its way uh, into the boys live adaptation. So or have not yet. So yeah, Bomb Shot, he may end up being revealed like later on within this season. Who knows? But I'm expecting. There was talks too of having my boy who played Sam in Supernatural. There was talks about having him coming to the boys universe. So I'm like, huh, playing as what character though? I'm not sure. But yeah. So also too, y'all, hey, still from the Geek Verse. Hey, I'm still waiting to hear about this from Death Battle. Come on, man. Speaking about Invincible, Thrag. What's up, y'all? Superman and Thrag. I still need to see that. Damn it. Or I still need to see I still need to see him face off against Goku or Darkseid or Darkseid. And best believe, right along with our next anime night, we will be showing more One Piece. Yeah, but as I've been letting that slowly build up. So yeah. We'll be getting to that. And man, yeah, dude, there's more stuff to come. More stuff to come, man. There's more stuff to talk about. Oh yeah. I could do a stream. We're gonna talk about Monarch too. Oh man, that show. I'm like, damn it, Hiroshi. What they did to Hiroshi was just crazy. I'm like, man, why would y'all do that to my boy? Have it to be written like that. But yeah, we'll save that for the end. But yeah, but let's get into this, man. So y'all might like this. Y'all might take interest to this.
Bomb site, bomb site.
No one has seen bomb site for decades.
Hello, welcome back to the channel, guys. We knew The Boys Season 5 would be dropping some new characters, and we even met a few in the first 3 episodes. Now, in the last episode, they name-dropped another soup and touched upon who he is, Bombsight. Bombsight doesn't have any origins in the comics and has been created solely for the show. So, it's safe to assume that he has quite a significant role to play. So, without any further delay, let's check out everything we know about the brand new soup ready to appear in the final season of The Boys. In episode 4, titled King of Hell, Billy Butcher and the gang ended up at Fort Harmony to look for and grab any vial of V1 that might have been left after Vought's first trial session. They did find a safe, but according to MM, someone had beaten them to it and got their hands on the V1. Whoever did it managed to punch straight through an 80-year-old rusted safe, and not long before they reached the spot. Frenchie finds heroin on the scene and Butcher connects the dots. A punch like a blade and sledgehammer and a taste for smack. The answer was Bombsight. However, no one had seen Bombsight for decades, and people had presumed he was dead. The only other person who could have known about Fort Harmony is Bombsight, since he was a part of Soldier Boy's first team, Payback. Now, Huey posed the right question in this scenario. Bombsight, being one of the first generation soups, already has V1 in his body, something Sister Sage even confirms in the 3rd episode. So why does he need more of it? The likely answers are that he might be acting against Soldier Boy and stole it discreetly before Soldier Boy or Homelander could get their hands on the vial. Or maybe the effect of V1 does fade off in some instances, which we're still unaware of, and the soup needs to pump in one more dose. We'll spin the theory wheel on that some other time. In today's video, let's find out who Bombsight actually is. In the last season of The Boys, Bombsight was slyly snuck in during Vought's promotional videos, where we see his name appear in a 1953 movie poster called Bombsight in The Curse of Fu Manchu. So Kripke had already soft-launched him as one of Vought's old superheroes from the 50s. And finally, in this season, they've roped in Mason Dye, known for his role as Jason Carver in Stranger Things, to play this superhero. And honestly, having seen him pull off a darker antagonistic role in Stranger Things, Mason Dye's entry into the Boys universe as Bombsight makes things even more exciting. It's been revealed from press material that Bombsight was a former US combat pilot and is the 3rd oldest soup in existence. And from what we saw in the season 5 episode, we can be sure he is super strong and struggles with addiction. He was injected with V1 around the same time as Soldier Boy, and his appearance in a military jacket in the promo images for Vought Rising further supports his military background. That means after the final season of The Boys, Bombsight will also be playing a leading role in the prequel series, appearing as a regular character alongside Jensen Ackles and Aya Cash. As far as his powers are concerned, we can gauge that he has brute strength, superhuman durability, and is virtually immortal due to the V1 in his system. Now, I know you're thinking that strength is the basic perk of every suit, but when describing Bombsight, Butcher and MM specifically noted that only a few dozen possess the level of strength he has. But introducing Bombsight in this season doesn't feel like a mere sneak peek before he becomes a regular in the spin-off series. He feels more like a wildcard entry who could tip the scales on the ending. Firstly, he's been hiding for decades, but somehow still managed to get the last V1 serum, potentially hindering Homelander's shot at immortality. This means he might have enemies within the 7, or that he has some unexplained connection to Soldier Boy. I have a feeling that Bombsight might turn against all the other soups and be willing to help the boys. Of course, what we know about the soups on Soldier Boy's old team and Bombsight's own habits suggests that he's probably not the most reliable ally. But if he can at least steer the team in the right direction, he could still play a key role in stopping Homelander from becoming immortal. He also seems like he would be useful in a fight, and since he's one of the original V1 survivors, Bombsight might have the kind of knowledge needed to help develop a version of the anti-soup virus that actually works on Soldier Boy and the other V1 soups. There's a lot of potential with his character, even with The Boys heading into its final stretch. Alright guys, that's all for today. I absolutely cannot wait to see how Bombsight's appearance affects the entire dynamic of the show, and knowing Mason Dye's work, it's safe to say the character's in good hands. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you don't miss any of our future videos. I'll see you in the next one. Stay marvelous.
Yeah, so yeah, the cat who they're going to be looking for, who they're going to find, who may end up having the V1, turns out to be somebody, who's a drug addict, whose capabilities and all may be questionable, because like dude said, maybe, they may hinder their progress of taking out Homelander, or he may end up turning to be a key figure into taking Homelander and the rest of the soups down. So, shit, who knows, man? It's all coming next week. So yeah, so I'm kind of curious who his character is going to be. But yeah, when they arrived there, they found the V1 wasn't there, so dude took the damn V1. Oh well, so yeah, so now let's get back into some more of The Boys, and this one was kind of interesting to me too. So yeah, because I had thoughts about this too, as well as I realized that many of other people have had these same thoughts, when it comes to Butcher's ex. So here we go.
I don't know where this is coming from because your mother, she came on to me.
We all know why Billy Butcher set out on his murderous crusade against soups, right? In case you guys need a refresher, he did it because the most recognizable soup in the world assaulted his wife and proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that all those who have compound V running through their veins are dangers to society. But what if that wasn't the case? What if Butcher's entire life is built on a lie? That's exactly what we'll be taking a look at in this video. So, without further ado, let's get right to it.
Easy, Tiger. I want you in the A-game.
A-game?
Who was Becca, and why was she even alone with Homelander in the first place? For fans of the comics, the Amazon version of Rebecca Butcher's explicit encounter with Homelander might have felt slightly suspicious from the outset, because unlike the comics, she actually had a relationship with him outside of her marriage. But to understand that, we need to first address how Becca is different from Becky. In the comics, Becky Butcher is a social worker whom Billy met in a subway train in London. Their relationship wasn't exactly brief because she managed to become the calming influence in his life. She was the reason that he gave up drinking and getting into random fights, which is also true for Show Billy. But their relationship didn't last as long as the one between Carl Urban and Chantel Van Santen's characters either. After marrying his redhead bride, Billy took her to Miami for their honeymoon, where they met the Seven while they were on a public tour. It's during this tour that Becky was assaulted, and the comics give us an extended timeline for her descent into depression, as well as a completely different outcome for her character trajectory. Becky and Billy lived together for quite some time after the assault, but she grew increasingly distant with him, and the fact that she had a rapidly developing pregnancy didn't help. The night she died was far more horrifying than what happened to Becca, because her baby lasered its way out of her and nearly killed Billy as well. That's how Billy's hatred of Homelander began in the first place. Not because either of them knew the guy personally or professionally, but because only one soup in the comics possessed laser eyes. But that's not the case for Amazon's The Boys, because in this version of the story, Rebecca actually has a working relationship with Homelander. She's the senior director of digital marketing for Vought. That changes the entire context of her assault, because she goes from being another face in the crowd to someone who is a part of the Vought machine. Even if she didn't work directly with Homelander, she was managing his online presence. In fact, she ran his Twitter account personal, and that's probably one of the factors that contributed to her rise to senior director. In season 1 of The Boys, Becca took Billy to the company Christmas party in the year 2011. This is where both of them met Homelander for the first time. He complimented her for handling his Twitter presence and made an offhand remark about Butcher that, in hindsight, should have signaled the tragedies to come. A few days later, she was asked to join Homelander for a private meeting behind closed doors. And a month after the Christmas party, Becca disappeared. It was after her disappearance that Grace Mallory approached Billy, much like how he approached Huey in episode 1 of The Boys, and showed him the footage that sparked this theory in the first place. Knowing the difference between Becky's relationship with Homelander and Becca's is the backbone of this theory, because it's what opens the window and invites the winds of suspicion into our homes. Now that we've laid the groundwork, let's move on to the seed that germinated this question. What did that security footage actually show, and what conveniently didn't make the cut? This is where the theory actually gets legs. A few days after Becca goes missing, Grace Mallory comes knocking on Butcher's door. At this point, he's not a trained assassin and spy like he is in the beginning of The Boys. He's just a former Royal Marine Commando and SAS operator living in America. After being told to go away because Billy doesn't want any, she brings up his lost wife, because she knows that will open the door for her. She enters his home and shows Butcher the tape that led to his burning hatred for Homelander and all other supes. But here's the important part. She skips through most of it and only shows who enters and who exits the room. Grace claims that Becca was with Homelander for 3 hours. Yet, Billy's viewing of the tape only lasts for about 10 seconds. Now yes, it is true that the CCTV footage Mallory presents as evidence has a few holes in it. For starters, most CCTV cameras don't record audio, especially for cameras that are installed within the premises of places like a corporate office. CCTV only records video. There are a multitude of reasons for that, from protecting trade secrets to hiding incriminating evidence. But the reason it's relevant in this video is self-evident. Without audio, Billy will only have a recording of a closed door to base his conclusions on. And even if there was audio attached to Vought's CCTV system, Mallory could have edited the footage to make it look like there wasn't. And that's why the gray area around the question of whether Homelander assaulted Becky or not has existed for so long. Grace only showed her being guided into the room by Homelander and then emerging from it looking distressed. She fast-forwarded through 3 hours of content that would have admittedly not changed anything, but can still be flagged as suspicious behavior. She also framed the encounter in such a way that allowed Butcher to draw his own conclusion. After he viewed the footage, Grace said that Becca went missing not long after what occurred, has remained missing since, and that she believed one way or another Homelander was involved. Billy questions why Homelander, a superhero, would do what she was implying. She responded by saying that he wouldn't believe what supes get up to. And when he asked her who she was, she identified herself, showed him her agency badge, and told him that she was the one who could get him payback. This entire sequence feels like a massive manipulation, and Billy even calls her out on it years later when he tells her that she was the one who turned him into a weapon and pointed him at Homelander. Then there's what the accused himself thinks about this entire ordeal.
Bro, it's not my fault, okay? She came on to me. It happens.
Will you stop?
You know, it's...
Why does Homelander tell Butcher she came on to him? Why does that claim even exist? In the season 1 finale, Homelander comes face to face with Butcher for the first time. Billy figured out that Madeline Stillwell was his one weakness. So, he broke into her home, strapped a bomb to her chest, and goaded his target into saving her. When he arrives, Homelander tells Butcher directly that he and Becca had a one-off consensual encounter and that she came on to him, all the while acting like a grade A sleazebag. It was clear he was just trying to get under Billy's skin, but this is also the line that started 1,000 forum threads. Many have questioned why Homelander would make this specific claim in this specific moment. Was he lying to wound Butcher's ego? Is he genuinely delusional? Or is there a very slim chance that for the first time in his life, he's actually telling the truth? He even repeats this line to his own son in season 5, episode 3. And Homelander is not the kind of guy to initiate a sexual encounter without consent. At least not on screen. He's had 2 sexual partners across 5 seasons. Stillwell and Stormfront, and his encounters with both of them were completely consensual. If either of them said no to him, he would make a face and throw a tantrum, but he would also listen. And when he discovered that not only was Rebecca Butcher alive, but also that their encounter resulted in her pregnancy, he expressed genuine concern, remorse, and confusion. Homelander always thought that he couldn't father children because Vogelbaum had told him that he was impotent. But when he interrogated the good doctor about it, his answer was, nature is tenacious. Homelander didn't understand why Butcher was hellbent on killing him, because as far as he knew, Rebecca Butcher was fired from Vought after their tryst and went on with her life. He had no idea she disappeared, and he was enraged with both Vogelbaum and Stillwell that they lied to him about his kid. Plus, when he finally does meet Ryan, he initially does everything he can to genuinely connect with him, including listening to Becca's demands. His behavior goes completely against what Mallory told Butcher he did to his wife. And then there's the little matter of Homelander's third forgotten sexual partner, Doppelganger. In Season 1, we learned that Vought uses Doppelganger to blackmail US senators by having him sleep with them and then shift his appearance mid-sex to pocket their secrets. Homelander himself takes to using Doppelganger's quote-unquote services after Stillwell's death. There's a theory that says Doppelganger assaulted Becca, not Homelander, and it makes sense because that character has mastered the art of seduction. Perhaps Homelander co-opted his story because he needed to keep Doppelganger safe for himself. And it's not like Vought hasn't genetically engineered the birth of children before. Homelander's living proof because he was essentially a test tube baby, and so was Marie Moreau. It's possible that Ryan's existence was conceived as the most elaborate Vought experiment of all time, because his early life does play out like a test subject. He's raised in an isolated environment created specifically to see how the introduction of a maternal figure would affect his development, something Vogelbaum admits he should have done with Homelander the first time around. So the existence of this claim does still have legs to stand on. And Mallory's habit of manipulating people into working for her doesn't help either. Then there's Billy's own cheating scandal to consider, which is why we wanted to explore this question. Butcher claimed that everything he's doing for Becca, to honor her memory and the love that was taken away from him. Yet, in Season 4, we learned that he cheated on her with a waitress, thanks to the devil on his shoulder called Joe Kessler. This made us revisit Season 1, because if Becca found out about the affair, which she could have, seeing as she's a smart girl and knows Billy inside out, it would have given her the motivation to get even with him. But here's the thing, these are wild conspiracy theories until we examine the actual evidence.
Becca, you handled my takeover, right?
Yes, I did.
Now let's look at how Becca actually acted after that night. What does her behavior tell us? Let's go back to incident footage the show gives us and dissect it frame by frame. Becca arrives at Vought Tower for a personal meeting with Homelander after having discussed her work on his Twitter account at a recent office party. In fact, he tells her that he wants to set this meeting up so that he can pick her brain on it, and the pre-incident footage indicates the same thing. We see Becca walking behind Homelander, classic superior-subordinate dynamic, with her bag in her hand and her hair in a ponytail. She lets a faint smile roll across her face, and Homelander guides her into the room with his hand on her lower back. She ducks in a bit too fast, and her body language feels rushed, like she's nervous or anticipating something. In the post-incident footage, we see her coming out of the room looking disheveled and disoriented. Her blouse is untucked and slightly unbuttoned. Her hair is also no longer in a ponytail. Her right heel is in her hand, and so is her blazer. She exits the room rather quickly, takes a moment to steady herself, gathers her thoughts, glances back at the door, then puts on her shoe and coat and walks off camera. It can be read in two ways. One, she was a victim in shock, trying to process something horrific and doing her best to get as far away from her rapist as she could while maintaining professional dignity. Two, she was a woman who had an affair to get even with her husband and was overwhelmed with guilt. That anxiety we mentioned when she entered the room could just be nerves because she had a meeting with the biggest ticket in Vaughtland, or because she knew she was cheating on Billy, or perhaps she was anticipating the assault, considering all the workplace sexual harassment horror stories Vought has covered up for decades. The one thing we can say beyond a shadow of a doubt is that Becca was nervous before going in, and she came out looking like something wrong had happened. These two versions, the obvious one and the one that's born from Homelander's assertions, are why many in the boys' community question what happened that night. Why did Becca hide the truth from Butcher? What the show confirmed, and why the actress ensured it was said out loud. This is the million-dollar question that acts as the hinge between these two perspectives. If Becca had a one-off fling with Homelander, it makes sense why she wouldn't want to talk about it with the man she was married to. But if she was assaulted, why disappear instead of telling Butcher? Because the silence that stems from those two scenarios is quite different. Chantel Van Santen described her decision to go mute and ghost Butcher instead of confiding in him about her pregnancy as a Sophie's Choice scenario, which, while it makes sense, doesn't really help Becca's case. If the choice is between telling her husband and losing the man she loves to the rage-filled beast inside him, then sure, we get Becca's decision. But if thinking that her confession would become an admission of guilt, that she'd lose Billy entirely, and that implicates her as a participant in an affair, not a survivor. Thankfully, the show gives us a clear answer through Becca herself in season 2, and it's the former, not the latter. She was terrified if Butcher found out, he would go after Homelander and get killed. She signed a Vought NDA and disappeared because she knew that she was going to lose Billy either way. But by doing what she did, at least there was a chance that he wouldn't go back into the lifestyle he left behind to be with her. Her decision to quietly exit stage left was a protective lie, not a guilty one, because despite all the changes she brought within him, she was always aware of the fact that Billy has enough rage in him to burn down the world. He was just keeping it low for her sake. She had no idea that he'd end up getting pulled into this circus anyway, because she really couldn't predict Mallory showing up at their doorstep. But that's not on her. And most importantly, Chantel herself was hyper-cognizant of the fact that any sort of ambiguity over what happened between Becca and Homelander would lead to videos like this, which is why she told Eric Kripke to remove the gray area entirely. She pushed for Becca to own explicitly what happened, because ambiguity might make a compelling fiction, but it minimalizes the real-life damage that such experiences do to women on a daily basis. Like she said in an interview with Cultress, for survivors, there is no gray area, and thankfully, Eric listened to her. In Season 2, Episode 3, Becca tells Homelander point blank that he doesn't get a say in Ryan's life after what he did. That's as close to a direct confrontation as the show gives, and it's clear from her terror around him that theirs wasn't an affair. She was a victim who was promised witness protection, but was then forced to live through scheduled visits from her abuser while raising the child conceived from that abuse. In many ways, Becca is much stronger than any other character from The Boys. And we're glad Chantel spoke up about not leaving those things to speculation, because for a while, people were really going in on the Becca had a thing for Homelander trick. But this also brings up a rather pertinent question. Why did Season 1 deliberately keep it vague, and what does that say about Homelander? The reason Season 1's portrayal of Becca's assault felt ambiguous wasn't to protect a both sides narrative. It was to establish something darker, which is Homelander's complete lack of accountability. For a man who's bestowed with the greatest power in the world, he takes none of the responsibility, and that shows in how casually he refers to his time with Becca. Homelander genuinely doesn't register what he did as wrong, because in his mind, being the most powerful means he can never do anything wrong. And it doesn't help that Vought reinforced that idea over and over again with the psychologists they brought in to develop a protocol they used to keep him in line. He told Butcher and Ryan the assault was consensual because in his mind, it may well have been. To Homelander, that's not a lie, because he truly believes that every woman wants him and every man wants to be it. His claims and statements are a window into the mind of a man so devoid of consequences that the concept of non-consensual sex doesn't fully register in his brain. And everything he's done since he was a little boy has reflected this truth back at him. During his first official rescue as a hero, he killed the people he was supposed to rescue and freaked out. But instead of holding him accountable, Black Noir helped him clean up his mess. When Homelander took down Flight 37, he didn't show remorse. He spun it into a narrative about being too late to rescue the people and got his buddies into the US military complex. When he released Compound V into the wild and created supervillains for the superheroes, Stan Edgar knew what he'd done. But even while being confronted with the truth, Homelander doesn't cop to it. And the only time he's actually honest with himself, like that scene in the mirror, his honesty is stamped down by his own mind because his perception of himself is both insecure and godlike. His claim to Butcher isn't just a taunt, it's one of the most revealing lines in the whole show, because it shows you that Homelander is baking his cake and eating it too. He's genuinely high off his own supply. He believes the lies he's told himself, and that's a more damning indictment of his character than any of the horrific acts he's committed throughout his lifetime. The reason he can trot around Becca's home without a shred of guilt is because he doesn't even perceive what he did to her as being wrong. And the one time Homelander's actually right about Ryan and what will happen if he leaves his bubble, he takes it as validation that he's been right all along. One correct estimation doesn't make you a genius, and one good deed doesn't wash out a lifetime of evil. But with Homelander, that's exactly how the world works, which is probably why Kripke left things open-ended in Season 1 in the first place. Plus, no one would have bought the doppelganger angle anyway, because last time we checked, he isn't Harper, and soup abilities can only be passed down by soup parents. Just look at Polarity and Andre, right? With that, we come to the end of one of the craziest conspiracy theories to come out of the Boysverse, and trust us, there are a lot of those floating around. Perhaps when Kripke was writing the first season with his writing team, he did consider leaving things open-ended with regards to Becca. But Chantel ensured that he didn't stick to that decision, and we're so glad she had that conversation with him. And we hope we cleared out any doubts for you guys about what happened that fateful night. Let us know what you think about the Homelander-Becca incident in the comments below. And as always, like, share, subscribe to our channel, and ring that bell's icon.
Well, I'll tell you this here that I'm leaning more towards Butcher was set up to. Butcher was manipulated and set up to take out Homelander. By that chick, what's her name, Melinda? Yeah. I bet he was set up to basically to go after Homelander. He was set up the whole rage bait, was set up and it was there. And her disappearing too, that's like super suspect too, yeah. So it could, she's not around to reveal her side or whatever, like the whole truth of it, but thing is she could have been, you know, she could have been told to keep quiet on certain truths. So basically for the purpose of to keep Butcher guessing. But but overall, just Homelander, he could be telling the truth, but then again, yeah, like her coming out of the office and her dipping out of town and shit after she found out she was pregnant and everything. So yeah, that's not an excuse. I'm taking that all as guilt. So yes, I would say that she was guilty. It's a high possibility she could have been guilty. But then again, there's also a high possibility where she could have been threatened by Homelander or threatened by someone to go in that same room with Homelander just so they can use that as rage bait for Butcher to thus turn him into a constant weapon after Homelander. But yeah, so that's that, man. Shoot, that's these three shows. Man, I know it was something else, so I'll try to hurry up and get through them because there's so much coming out. But thank you guys for coming through. Man, this your guy, Ray Hama, one versus a million. I'm not your fan. I'm not your stand for I am brother. Please hit the like, share, subscribe, follow the Rumble, hype the stream, hit the Cash App, bless the Hama Force, which should be in the description. Peace. Here we go.